Hey, I wanted to make this video about the Fosi amplifier, subwoofer amplifier. I did about 3 months ago. I did an unboxing of this amplifier, and a month ago I actually did a comparison using a full-size amplifier, played on the difference between the two. And I had viewers that was interested on how this amplifier sounds. But I had something recently happen to this amplifier. It's just stopped working, so I couldn't actually do a review. I wanted to do a review of this amplifier. Actually, I wanted to do a sound demonstration of this amplifier, for everyone online to see. But guess what? It stopped working. Yeah, I have no idea what happened to this amplifier. It just stopped working. So I was kind of, disappointed about this. But actually, I did get to test it before it stopped working. And before I, talk about that, I just want to say that, when I first got it, I used it, it worked. And I think I was using a 6-inch subwoofer, 6.5-inch subwoofer with a dual voice coil. And when I was using it, everything worked fine. So, I didn't have the right driver or a driver that was large enough to use it. So I just, disconnected it and put it up in a box for last month. And then when I decided I wanted to make a video using this amplifier, I plugged it back up, hooked it up and everything, plugged it back up, and it just stopped working. Actually, there's like a flicker. There's something wrong with the amplifier. I don't think it's the adapter, it's the amplifier. But I noticed when you plug it up, you can hear it clicking. So maybe there's a resistor or something that's damaged inside of the amp. But anyway, when it was working, I actually did a quick test using a 6.5-inch subwoofer in a small cabinet in a small sealed box. And what I noticed was I was really surprised with the outcome. When I was testing it. This tiny little amplifier had a lot of power. There was a lot of power and a lot of current running through this amplifier. And I was really surprised because I hooked up a 6.5-inch driver and wasn't thinking, that's all I needed for something that's small. But when I powered it up, it just, it seemed like there was a lot of current and a lot of wattage going through this amplifier to the driver. So I realized that I actually needed a bigger woofer because the driver that I was using, like I said, it was 6.5 inches. It was like too much power going through this little driver, so it was just it was a lot of distortion and what do you call it, well, I don't know, but it was a lot of distortion, and the driver was distorting because there was so much current that was going through the driver. So I basically need a driver that could handle more power and more wattage. So this is why I decided to get a 12-inch, trying to find a driver that was larger enough to handle the power. And this amplifier is rated from, if you go to the website, the Fosi audio website, it says this thing is rated at 220 watts into 2 ohms. And when I tested it, I actually tested it, I think, with a 4-ohm subwoofer. And, it really seemed like it was a lot of power going through, but I still believe that this amplifier is basically, running at 100 or 150 watts at the most. But the reason why they list this as 220 watts is because of the resistance. This amplifier is supposed to be able to handle 2 ohm drivers, and the lower your ohms are, the more resistance and the more current goes through your driver, and the more power the amplifier needs to run a 2 ohm speaker. So when using 2 ohm drivers with this amplifier, I wouldn't even use 2 ohm drivers because that's a lot of power. Like I say, a lot of resistance. That's very low resistance, so it takes a lot of current, and the wattage increases. So something that's small, I would not recommend using a 2 ohm driver because you might burn it out. Even full-size amplifiers use just, you know, 4 ohms or 8 ohm drivers, like for home audio for the home. Maybe for car they use 2 ohms, but for home audio, like something like this, which is this is designed for using a 4 ohm driver is enough. You can even use an 8 ohm driver, and it should not, you know, affect the amplifier or anything. But using a 2 ohm driver is going to put a load. It's going to put a, you know, it's going to put basically more stress on the amplifier when you use 2 ohm drivers, because that's a very low resistance, and the lower the resistance, the more power and the more wattage the amplifier needs to produce to drive a 2 ohm driver. So that's putting more stress. So I would definitely recommend using like a 4 ohm driver just to be on the safe side. But anyways, when this amplifier was working, like I say, I needed a larger driver, and when I was going to do a sound test, you know, for everyone on YouTube, I found a 12-inch driver right here, as you can see, and I also found a 12-inch PA cabinet that I was working on a few years back. And you know, it was an empty cabinet that I was building for a PA two-way system, so I was going to use that cabinet because it was large enough to fit this 12-inch driver. But again, you know, to my surprise, when I you know, unhooked this amplifier and took it apart and you know, disconnected all the wires and put it back in a box, and then when I plugged it up again, like I did just now, just to do a test online, a sound test, it stopped working. So yeah, I was, you know, really disappointed and shocked that it stopped working. But at least I could tell you that yeah, it seems like it definitely has the power, you know. Like I said, I would say it's about a 150 watt amplifier. I don't know about 220, but definitely it's 150 watt. And you definitely want to use a large driver like a 12-inch or a 10-inch. I wouldn't go nothing smaller. I think an 8-inch or a 12-inch driver would be enough for this amplifier, because like I said, there's a lot of excursion, a lot of pressure that is going through the driver, and excursion of the cone, you know, moving back and forth. And it's so much power that comes from this amplifier occurring that if you use small drivers, it's going to make the drivers distort. So you need something large, and you need a large cabinet. You know, in my opinion, you need a large cabinet and a large driver to handle the wattage from this tiny amplifier. So I would recommend using a 10-inch woofer or 12 like this. So yeah, you know, it does sound pretty good. And like I said, it might be some distortion because, again, you know, this is a smaller amplifier. So of course, you know, if you run 2 ohm drivers, there are going to be some type of distortion, because you're dealing with small components and electronics, something like this. And let me see what else. Okay, for that part, that's about it. So yeah, it has a lot of power. So use a 10 or 12-inch woofer in a large cabinet, and you probably have better control over this. Really shocked. Like I said, I hooked this up and I put the subwoofer cable right here. So right here, this is subwoofer cable that goes to the amplifier, and 2 wires that goes to the woofer, and this is adapter plug right here. See? Let's show this really. But here's the thing, you know, this is something that I found very interesting about this. Okay, you know, when I plugged it up, it flickers. Basically, the light of the adapter comes on right here, but it flickers, and you can hear a clicking sound. And the clicking sound is coming from the amplifier and the woofer. So there's something wrong. Like I said, it could be a resistor or a component that is burned out in here, but it keeps clicking. You know, you can hear like a really light click back and forth, and it looks like it's, you know, anytime when there's a click, you could feel the cone slightly move, and you can hear the clicking sound from the cone of the woofer because it's plugged up, and there's basically no sound. But what I noticed was really interesting about this amplifier, I noticed this, and I only noticed this with this amplifier. I use other T amps, such as the topping amplifiers, This actually has a spark, and to me, this is what makes this kind of dangerous to use. It's actually a spark. When you plug this adapter right here into this amplifier, this tiny T-amp amplifier, this is like a pretty big spark, and that could be dangerous. And what's really interesting about that, I actually went to their website, their company's website, their main website, and they actually know this. They actually, and this is kind of not funny, but they actually address this to their website. And I'm checking on my phone right here and read this for you guys. This is really so basically, I'm on their website right here, and this is what they say. Okay, they say quick tips: please plug the power cord into the amplifier, then into the wall, the audio cable into the amplifier, and then switch it on. So basically they're saying you're supposed to plug the this connector right here. It's not plugged up, so I'm gonna disconnect. This connector is supposed to plug into this amplifier, into the amplifier first. You're not supposed to plug this adapter into the wall. You're supposed to plug this in first, okay? And this is true, this is what happened to me. So plug this in first. Make sure make sure this is not plugged into the wall before you have this plugged in. So this is what the site says, right? You plug it in like this, like that. Then you take this adapter and you plug it into your outlet. And they say use a 110 volt outlet, right? AC outlet. But here's the thing. Look at this. It says some customers may see some light sparks flying when they plug the power supply into the amplifier. Because they use it in the wrong way. You need to connect the amp to the power supply first, then plug the power supply into the 110 volt AC outlet. Don't worry about the sparks because this is a Class D amplifier. The capacitors need to charge when the power, it says when power in. It's normal and safe. Like, okay. And I read this from their website. It's like, come on, are you serious? See, it actually says that. It says it's safe, and that's what really shocked me because turn my phone off. But yeah, that really shocked me there. And it's true, this thing was spark, and this is what is kind of dangerous about using this. I have never used the amplifier or plugged in a amplifier T where it sparks. Even if I plug in the adapter first, which they tell you not to do, I plug it in first and then I plug this in second. I never had any electronic spark unless it was faulty, and that's the problem, with this. And every time when I plug it in, I plug in the adapter first because sometimes I forget, and I just plug the cable in second. It's like a big spark. I'm not kidding. And very dangerous. It's kind of scary. It's very dangerous. Something could catch on fire with the spark. And from their site, they say it's normal, but that is not normal with with any type of amplifier. If it sparks, you have to be careful, and that could actually be the reason why this amplifier is not working correctly, or it really doesn't work, because a circuit or a capacitor could have been shorted out because of that, And I'm just gonna give you a quick demonstration to show you how it sparks. Be careful, like you watching this, but I'd be a little bit careful. I'm going to do it. So I'm gonna plug in the adapter first, into the outlet. Then I'm gonna plug this in. You will see the spark. This is crazy. This is really crazy, but let me do it. See, I unplugged it. In just a minute. Let's see. And I got the plug right here. Let me show this. So I'm gonna plug this into the outlet first. I'm using a standard outlet, 110 volts AC, so there's no problem with that. So I'm gonna plug this into the outlet over here. It's hard to see, but okay, it's plugged in. As you can see, Let me show you, can see better. Okay, I'm gonna plug it back up. The light goes out. Well, the light gonna eventually go out, but as you can see, and the reason why the light still stays on and it's unplugged is because of the capacitors. The capacitors, you know, have charge inside of them. You see the light went out, and plug it back in. There you go. Now watch this. This is crazy. Look at this. And they say this is safe, you know. There's nothing wrong. Look at this. Look at that. I mean, look at that. Whoa, man, look at that. See, look at this. That's crazy. One more time, but look at the sparks. Whoa. Look at that. That is so crazy right there. But look at the light. Look how the light is flickering on the adapter. And this is what I'm saying. Look at this. And listen. You can actually hear the clicking sound. You can see the light flickering. And you can hear it in the woofer right here. If you listen. And that's basically what happened to my amp. Like I said, I don't know what happened. It was working fine, and I disconnected everything and put it back in a box and set it on my shelf. And then I wanted to do an online sound demonstration, and when I plugged it up, this happens. Yeah. And again, you know, I was really disappointed because this doesn't make any sense. This, you see the light, but I'll just do it one time. This is crazy. I have used, you know, T-amps in the past, and I never had a T-amp spark like this. Even if the adapter is plugged in the wall first, it never sparked like this. And the website says this is normal, you know. But this is dangerous. I mean, come on, look. I mean, look at this. This is just crazy. Look at that. I mean, I'm not gonna do it too much because I don't want to shout out something. That right there will destroy your amplifier. That will short out a component or a circuit inside this amplifier if you do that. And again, you know, this is not normal. Even if you don't plug it in correctly like that, it's not supposed to spark. As you see, it does. So maybe that's the reason what happened to this amp. But as you can see, yeah, you get no sound, nothing. So yeah, I just wanted to make this small video. I was like disappointed. I really wanted to give everyone a sound demonstration using this 12-inch driver. I found a driver large enough that will work with this. And this is an 8 ohm driver. And I wanted to mention one thing about 8 ohm current or 8 ohm load. They say this thing is listed at 220 at 2 ohms. And basically that's the only way you can get 220 watts out of something this small if it's at a 2 ohm resistance. Because if you use an 8 ohm driver, this amplifier is going to only run at 100 watts. And if you use a 4 ohm driver, it's going to run at 150. Then if you use a 2 ohm driver, you may get 200 out of this. And like I said, that's the only way you will get 200 watts out of this amplifier if you use a 2 ohm driver. Because that's a very low resistance. And it takes more power and more current to run a driver that is 2 ohms. So remember that, you know. This is why I don't like using 2 ohm drivers, because it puts a lot of stress not only on a woofer, because it puts stress on the amplifier, because the amplifier got to come up with enough power to drive something that has that lower resistance. So basically, the lower the resistance, the more power it takes, you know, to run a driver that's 2 ohms. So this is an 8 ohm driver, so it should have no problem running this, you know, and this amplifier should have no power running this driver, because this is 8 ohm, or even a 4 ohm driver, which most subwoofers are 4 ohm, and it should have no problem. But if you use a 2 ohm driver, it's going to consume a lot of voltage, a lot of power, a lot of current, and it's going to put a lot of stress not only on the driver but on the amplifier to produce that wattage, because the resistance is so low. So just remember that. Just to be on the safe side, use a 4 ohm driver, or even an 8, but 4 ohm is fine. But 2 ohm, it puts too much, you know, load and too much stress on the amp and the driver. And so that means it's going to eventually burn out. You know, especially if you don't have an amplifier that is designed to use 2 ohm drivers. And like I say, I don't even know if this is really designed to use 2 ohm drivers. Like I say, I was using a 4 ohm driver, but I believe the reason why this thing burned out or stopped working correctly is because of the spark. You know, it sparks, as you can see. So I'm going to disconnect it real quick. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed. And this thing is hot. Look at this one right here. This is actually, it feels pretty warm. It's like almost hot. So there's definitely something wrong with this. But yeah, I don't want to say anything bad about the brand. But there has been other users that have experienced the same thing that I experienced it. They, you know, if you go to Amazon and you read the reviews on this amplifier, they say the same thing. It sparks, you know. And then there's, you know, I think one reviewer said it stopped working, but there was reviewers that said this thing actually sparked, and it does. So I'm not trying to say nothing bad about this brand or this amplifier, but yeah, there's definitely it's not right, you know, because it sparks like that. Like I say, I use other TMs and they don't spark that way when you plug them in. Even if the adapter is plugged in first, they don't spark like that. But that's about it. So yeah, I wish I could have did a sound test for everyone to show how it sounds, because, you know, from what I listened to, it sounds pretty good, but there's a lot of power and current that's going through this amplifier. So it's going to make small drivers distort. So you want to use something big like this, like a 12-inch or a 10, and a large cabinet, so you could control the sound or control the output from the amplifier better. And again, one more thing I wanted to mention on this. How many minutes have I went? Oh my gosh, 22 minutes. But look at this. This is the TP02, right? There's no FREQ knob on it, but if you look at the one on Amazon, they actually show a different picture from this. They show one that has 2 knobs, you know, one for volume and the other one for the FREQ, the response, so it could blend in with your speakers. So basically, they show the wrong picture. If you go to Amazon to look up this product, it will show you the other amplifier that has a knob on it. It's another knob. So maybe that's like a later model. This is like one of the first models. So remember, if you do want to buy this amp, it's $67 on FosiAudio.com. And there's like a this is the one that they actually sell, but the one that they show on Amazon is different. It has 2 knobs instead of 1. So of course you want the one that has a second knob, because it has the frequency response where you can adjust it to blend in with your satellite speakers. That's what you want. But so this must be the first model. But anyways, yeah, I don't know, I can't really recommend this amplifier to anyone right now, because like after what happened, it sparks and it stopped working. You know, I didn't even drive this really hard. I used it for maybe 20 minutes, you know, testing it, and it just burned, you know, stopped working. So I can't really, you know, recommend this right now, because I don't know what happened with it. But yeah, like it really sparks really bad, and I don't know, it's just hard for me to recommend something like this and it sparks, because, you know, anything sparks can start a fire. So, and I'm not saying nothing negative about this, but you know, you have to think twice about this. And like I said, I was really disappointed, but hey, maybe in the future, if I could get another one of these, I would test it. So I'm not going to say, you know, is it good to buy? Should you buy it? You know, I really don't know. I have to get another one and test it again, because this one, it's not working. So that's why I was disappointed, you know, with this. But if I do get another, I'm gonna do another test and see if the same thing happen. And I feel it feels kind of warm, you know. It shouldn't be this warm, because I haven't even, you know, it doesn't work, and it feels warm inside, kind of not hot but warm. So that's not a good sign. But anyways, I actually got a file DAC, which I will be do an open box and a review of that very soon. I just got it in the mail, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, that's about it for this video. I hope you like it. I hope I was able to give you some information on it. And if I have time, I will make more videos, you know, talking about subwoofer drivers and amplifiers and everything. But yeah, you know, I don't know what to say. Just you know, maybe keep your minds open about this. I don't know, but people who have used this, you know, they say it sounds great. And I also wanted to mention one thing about the crossover. It does go down that low. They say the crossover is like 18 decibels. Steep slope, I'm trying to say, is that the crossover has a very steep slope. It's at 18 dB, which is very good. Usually subwoofer crossovers are at like maybe 12, and sometimes if you're lucky 24. But basically, the higher the number, the more steeper the bass slope is, which means it filters out all the mid-range or the mid bass that's in a woofer. The steeper your crossover is. So this has an 18 octave. That's what I was trying to say, octave. dB. This has a 18 octave dB crossover built into it, and it sounds like it does. It sounds like it does. It filters out a lot of the bass, mid bass, and all that, so you get nothing but low bass from this amplifier. So it really looked like it was a good product, and maybe it is. But the sparking and it stopped working. That was just a you know, really problem for me. I was like a bit disappointed about that. But I know people who actually use this and they're really happy with it. So maybe if I get another one, I could, you know, really talk about this. Or maybe I might make another video explaining what really happened to this, because I really don't know. I would have to take it apart and check it out. But that's about it. I hope you liked this video, and I will make more videos about amplifiers and subwoofers if you want to see them. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.